Have you ever wondered if your morning coffee or your car ride to work could be contributing to climate change? It's a question that might seem far-fetched at first, but when we examine our daily routines, it becomes clear that our seemingly innocuous actions can add up to a significant impact on our planet. From the energy we use to the waste we produce, our everyday lives are more intertwined with the health of our environment than we might think. Well, stick around, because we are about to dive into the world of climate change and its effects. Climate change isn't a future problem, it's happening right now, and the stats are startling. As we delve deeper into the climate change reality, we uncover a series of facts and figures that are not just alarming, but downright terrifying. Our global temperature, for instance, has seen a steady rise. Over the past 100 years, the world has warmed by nearly 1 degree Celsius. It might not sound like much, but when you consider the impact this has on our ecosystems, it's a significant shift. And it's not just the temperature on land that's rising, our oceans are also feeling the heat. They've absorbed more than 90% of the increased atmospheric heat since the mid-20th century, leading to warmer seas and more intense and frequent marine heat waves. But the warming is just the tip of the iceberg, quite literally. Our planet's ice sheets are shrinking at an unprecedented rate. In the last decade alone, Greenland lost an average of 286 billion tons of ice per year, while Antarctica lost about 127 billion tons annually. This melting ice contributes to an equally troubling phenomenon, the rise in sea levels. Over the past century, the global sea level has risen by about 8 inches, and the rate in the last 2 decades is nearly double that of the entire last century. And then there are the extreme weather events. Heat waves, hurricanes, wildfires, and droughts have become more frequent and intense. The number of climate-related disasters has tripled in the last 30 years, causing untold damage and loss of life. These figures aren't just numbers, they represent the reality of our planet's changing climate. They are the tangible manifestations of a world in distress, a world that is calling on us to act before it's too late. The climate change reality is a harsh one, but it's a reality we can no longer afford to ignore. Climate change isn't a future problem, it's happening right now, and the stats are startling. These figures aren't just numbers, they represent the reality of our planet's changing climate. It isn't just humans who are feeling the heat. Wildlife across the globe is also bearing the brunt of climate change. When we talk about climate change, we often focus on rising temperatures. But it's not just about heat waves and melting ice caps, it's also about the delicate balance of life on Earth. Every living creature, from the smallest insect to the largest mammal, is part of a complex web of life. And climate change is tugging at those threads in ways that could unravel the whole thing. One of the most visible impacts of climate change on wildlife is habitat loss. As temperatures rise, polar ice melts, forests dry out and catch fire, and sea levels rise, swallowing up coastal habitats. Polar bears, for instance, depend on sea ice to hunt for seals. As the ice disappears, so does their primary food source. It's a similar story for countless species, each with its own unique needs and vulnerabilities. But climate change doesn't just destroy habitats, it also disrupts them. Many animals rely on specific environmental cues to know when to migrate, mate, or hibernate. As seasons become less predictable, these cues get mixed up, leaving animals out of sync with their environments. Birds might arrive at their breeding grounds to find that their food source has already peaked and declined. Bears might emerge from hibernation to find that winter is still in full swing. And then there's the threat to biodiversity. Each species plays a unique role in its ecosystem, and the loss of even a single species can have a ripple effect throughout the entire system. Climate change is accelerating the rate of species extinction, threatening to wipe out countless species before we even have a chance to fully understand their importance. It's a sobering picture, but it's not one without hope. There are steps we can take to mitigate these impacts, from reducing our carbon emissions to protecting and restoring habitats. But it's going to take a concerted, global effort. After all, we're not just fighting for our own future, we're fighting for the future of all life on Earth. Without intervention, these species could be on a path to extinction. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue, it's a human issue too. When we talk about climate change, we often picture melting ice caps and endangered wildlife. But the impact of climate change extends far beyond the natural world. It's also causing profound, life-changing consequences for people around the globe. Heat waves, for instance, are becoming more frequent and intense. This isn't just a matter of discomfort, Extreme heat can be deadly, leading to heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and even death. In the United States alone, heat waves cause more deaths each year than all other weather-related disasters combined. Floods, too, are increasing in both scale and severity. We're seeing this play out in real time across the world, from the streets of Miami to the shores of Bangladesh. These floods aren't just inconvenient, they're destructive, wiping out homes, livelihoods, and entire communities. Then there are the droughts. These prolonged periods of dryness are turning once fertile lands into barren wastelands. This is causing food and water shortages, which in turn lead to malnutrition, disease, and conflict. But perhaps the most devastating human impact of climate change is displacement. Rising sea levels and extreme weather events are forcing people to leave their homes, their communities, their countries. It's estimated that by the middle of this century, climate change could displace as many as 200 million people. That's equivalent to the entire population of Brazil. Imagine being forced to leave everything you know, everything you love, because of something as intangible as the weather. This is the reality for an increasing number of people around the world. And it's not just those in low-lying island nations or drought-prone regions who are at risk. We're all vulnerable. Climate change isn't confined by borders or boundaries. So the next time you think about climate change, remember this. It's not just about polar bears and melting ice caps. It's about people. It's about communities. It's about us. Climate change doesn't discriminate, it affects us all. Every decision we make, no matter how small, has an impact on our planet. It's a startling thought. The choices we make on a day-to-day basis, things we do without a second thought, can contribute to climate change. Let's take a moment to consider some of these common activities. Driving, for instance. Every time we hop in the car and zip off to the store, or to work or to school, we're burning fossil fuels. That releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, a key contributor to the greenhouse effect. Then there's our diet. The food we eat can have a surprising impact on our carbon footprint. Take meat, for instance. The livestock industry produces a significant amount of methane, another potent greenhouse gas. Even the fruits and vegetables we eat can contribute, especially when they are transported across long distances. And let's not forget about electricity. Every time we flip a switch, we're drawing power from the grid, and depending on where you live, a good chunk of that electricity might be generated by burning coal or natural gas, both of which release carbon dioxide. These are just a few examples, but they serve to illustrate a point. Our everyday choices matter. They add up, they have an impact. We are all part of the problem, but that also means we can all be part of the solution. We've painted a grim picture, but there's still hope. Yes, friends, there's always hope. Hope that we can turn this around, that we can make a difference. How? By taking action. Each and every one of us has the power to affect change, to combat climate change. And no action is too small. You see, climate change is not just a problem for governments and big corporations to solve, it's a problem for all of us. And we can all be part of the solution. First off, we can start by reducing our carbon footprint. That means making conscious choices in our daily lives to lower our greenhouse gas emissions. It could be as simple as choosing to walk or bike to work instead of driving, cutting down on meat consumption, or even turning off the lights when you leave a room. These may seem like small actions, but collectively, they can make a big difference. Next, we can support renewable energy. Solar, wind, hydro. These are the power sources of the future, and they're here now. By choosing green energy options, we not only reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, but we also support an industry that is creating jobs and boosting economies around the world. But it's not just about personal choices. We can also advocate for climate policy. We can demand that our leaders take action, that they prioritize the health of our planet over short-term profits. We can vote for politicians who understand the urgency of the climate crisis and are committed to taking action. And we can hold them accountable once they're in office. Remember, this is not a distant problem. This is here. This is now. And we are the ones who can make a difference. We are the ones who can ensure that our children and their children inherit a planet that is livable, that is vibrant, that is full of life. The planet is in your hands. What will you do to protect it?